Folks, welcome. Come one, come all. Looks like we've already got a couple of 100% dedicated fans in the chat. Actually, Scott was here at 4 o'clock my time, so it's like 5 o'clock Eastern. So good on you, Scott. We got 3 viewers in the chat already. We just started this sucker off. So Scott, good to see you. Glad you're here. And MMA Clips, one of the most dedicated stream attendees that I've ever seen. So MMA Clips, shout out to you, my friend. I think you're down in Florida. So for you, it's probably a little after 9 o'clock right now. So should be out of class and all that good stuff. Good to see you. Good to see you. Today we have the Bellator Champions Series London to break down. This is a card that originally had a pretty good, a decent main event. It had Johnny Eblen versus Fabian Edwards, a rematch, but at least like a name-valued main event. Now we've got Leah McCourt and Sarah Collins, which not necessarily bad. It's just not usually what you'd think of as like a main event. Sarah Collins has 6 fights? 5 fights, actually. 5 pro fights.
It shouldn't be the main event, man. There's 3 fights I like so much better on. Well,
I didn't mind this as a co-main because I liked the way that this was because Leah McCourt has some name value. I mean, she beat Manon Fiorot. She's got she's got some decent wins on her career. But Sarah Collins, up and comer, but only 5-0. So it's that was an okay co-main because you're basically just kind of going off of Leah McCourt. But yeah, for a main event, it's not quite there. But Grateful Dude is grateful for the breakdowns. That's what's up, dude. I like it. That's what I like to see. I appreciate you being here. Let's go ahead and jump into the fights. We don't need to spend a ton of time on some of these. Some of these are good, but some of these are, whatever. So I guess I'll kick off the first one, and it's I'm going to screw this up. It's Iman Almadov versus Dayanne Silva. Honestly, 2 undefeated ladies. It kind of comes down so there's not when you look at their level of competition and stuff, it's kind of slim pickings. There's not a whole lot there. They're early in their career, so there's not a lot to go off of. So even impressive wins are kind of it's hard to really say. I'm gonna take Silva, and it's solely based on the fact that I think more talent is coming out of Brazil for women's MMA than the Middle East. So we're gonna go with that. And it's a pick that I really hope that you guys aren't betting on. In fact, please don't bet this fight. There's all right. I'm not gonna spend too much time, I promise, but we're gonna just go over something here. So for Almadov, her last fight, she got a win over an 0-1. Before that, a 1-1. Before that, an 0-0. Before that, a 3-0. That was actually pretty good. But even then, it's still, there's early in their career. For Silva, 1-1 was the last opponent, 1-0, and 1-0. These are entry, they're all fighters that are new into their career. So we don't have much to go off of. So I'm taking Silva because I think the talent in Brazil is going to be higher. Pick'em would be mad at that pick, bro. He might have been. In fact, I can't wait to have him back on for the PFL final. So, let Pick'em know that he's coming back for that. Cody, what do you think in this first fight?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I tried to find what I could find, and then I was just social media stalking, trying to see and I'm not going to lie, there was a part of me that almost bet the dog here just on the simple fact that I was I feel like she's just bigger, probably has a little bit, just in the fights I've seen, I'm I think she can push a little bit more of a pace. I feel like this Silva girl, I feel like she's going to gas the first time that she actually has to fight a hard 15. I don't know. It's not a whole lot to go off, but I could only find one full fight from both of them. I think I found 2 from Silva, and then I was going off clips on YouTube, and it's not a whole lot to find, but I was oh, plus money. I think this girl's probably the better striker. I don't see Silva probably not implementing a ton of wrestling. So if it's going to be 15 minutes on the feet, plus money on a girl, I think might be a slightly better striker. But then I was Cody, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Stop. If you don't have enough information, you're forcing a play. So I was nah, I'm just going to hold off. But if I absolutely had to make a pick, I guess I'd be on the other side. But it's pretty much just plus money. Both girls don't look good. And, it's obviously not some crazy wide line. But I was honestly expecting her to be a favorite. But, let's move on, man. Screw this fight. This is
Yeah.
like
When you get to that level of degeneracy where you're like, well, let's see, there's a few clips online and she might be bigger. Like that's not good. Yeah.
No.
I mean, when I just looked at it, I assume she might be the favorite because she's 4-0 rather than 3-0, and she's ranked number 7 in the Middle East as opposed to 79th in Brazil. But like, yeah, I mean, that's just not enough. So yeah, no. The next fight though is actually a really good one between two up and coming prospects that Bellator was really pushing, and now they're just gonna throw them to the wolves against each other. We have Daro Kelly, and he's taking on Dmitry Hertsenko, I think is how you say it, Hertsenko. I'll let you kick this one off, but these lightweights are both like pretty hot prospects. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this is a much better fight. I'm honestly surprised. This is like, first of all, I'm kind of surprised they're making this fight, and then I'm also kind of surprised it's so low on the card. I mean, Kelly, dude's undefeated in amateur and professional, and I'm pretty sure every single one of the 13 amateur and pro fights were finishes. So I mean, this dude definitely dangerous, pretty well rounded. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about, because I do feel like if he gets on top here, he probably is gonna look like the favorite. But obviously he's the dog here, so like I was trying to find like obviously you know my style. I try to find, especially on Bellator, I try to find those couple little dogs that I think have a good shot. So I was trying to dogs. Yeah, I was trying to look at what do I think he can get on top, because if he does get on top, I think there's going to be a big ground discrepancy here. But the thing is, I'm not like super in love with his wrestling. His jiu-jitsu is good, and he's taken these guys down on like so far in his career, but this is a step up. Honestly, I'm surprised that they're making this fight, man. He's a big prospect. Big prospect might be kind of pushing it, but like 6-0, I mean, 13-0 combined, pro and amateur. Got subs, got knockouts, can kind of do it all. He's young, he's got the look, he'll talk a little bit. Like, I'm surprised they're making this fight, but on the other side, Dmitry, pretty good. I was gonna try to pronounce his last name, but you said
it's Hertsenko, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, Hertsenko, I think that is right. Actually, I was gonna butcher it, but yeah, I mean, on the feet, I do think he probably is the more polished striker. I do think he's probably got more pop in his shots, and I could see Kelly struggling to get takedowns, and if so, I don't know. I do feel like Dmitry probably, if these two fight on the feet for 15 minutes, I would say Dmitry either probably knocks him out or just wins the decision based off volume. So I think the line's pretty accurate. This is another one I was thinking, like, I was like, at first I'm like, I think Kelly, if he gets on top, he probably is going to look like a big favorite, but man, it's tough to really bank on him to go out here and get takedowns. This is a pretty big step up, in my opinion. Both these guys are good, man, but this is going to be kind of a show me fight for me. I kind of just want to see, like, we're going to get to find out for sure how good these dudes are. Because I think Dimitri's fought a little bit better competition, in my opinion, but, training at ATT, I think his striking, I mean, it does look pretty good. That Montalvo fight was pretty legit. Only 2-0 Bellator, and then he had that fight on PFL as well. Seems like he's willing to, like, he's not going to rush it, whereas Kelly kind of does like to really push for that finish. I feel like I wouldn't be shocked if Dmitry just peppered him on the feet and just won a decision. It might not be the most exciting fight if he does that, but yeah, I think it's pretty close, man, honestly. But kind of grappler versus striker here. But I guess I'll ever so slightly lean with the favorite. There's some dogs I like on this card, but yeah, I think I'll go with Dmitry, but I think the line's about exactly what I would have it.
Yeah, so if this was before the Hertsenko Montalvo fight, I might have taken a stab on Daro Kelly. But Justin Montalvo's good. Like, he's pretty darn good. And, because of that, makes me think that, Hertsenko's probably going to be the side. I think he's a tough stylistic matchup. I think Kelly's going to struggle if this stays on the feet, definitely. And for me, I think that it's Hertsenko as the pick. I don't think I can bet him, but maybe I should, honestly. let's see, what's the best odds we can get? Minus 155.
Yeah, it's not bad. And you
Might be
know,
a spot.
I guess the KO is only plus 255. Just because the way Kelly fights, like I wouldn't be surprised if he got clipped. But the decision's plus 130, KO plus 255. I'd probably just play the money line because they are two guys that, I do think this is a step up for both of them. So in these type of fights, it could be pretty high variant. I guess I wouldn't probably play a prop. If you're betting it, I probably would just take Dimitri on the money line.
Do you think it is a step up for Hertsenko, or do you think Montalvo and Kelly are about the same level?
Well, yeah, I guess you definitely. I mean, I feel like for Kelly, kind of the like it's not really. We don't know yet, Like he's just been blowing through guys, so like it's kind of tough to know exactly where his ceiling is. But yeah, I mean, you have a point there in the sense of we know Montalvo's good. Kelly, like he's been looking great, but he doesn't really have like any wins that really stick out. So. This is going to be a step up for him. As far as Dimitri, it's at least top 2 best fighters he's fought. So,
Real Fight Picks think Suga's stepping in on this one on short notice. I'm just playing. As far as like what Clip said, though, what do you think about the over 2? I honestly would stay away from an over-under.
Yeah, just because of the way Kelly fights, man. Like, I'm honestly surprised it's not a better line than that, to be honest. Just because, I mean, dude, Kelly's got like, 13, 14 fights, and all of them are finishes. So,
yeah,
obviously he's live for the finish. And then a lot of times when you see guys like that, when they finally do lose, they go all out for the finish. Uncle Chael always says it best. If you go for the finish, you're not going to win a decision. So
it's pretty tough.
If you go all out and try to finish somebody and it doesn't happen, a lot of times you end up getting finished yourself. So, yeah, I mean, I lean Dimitri, and I would pick him. If I had to pick, I would say decision, but I would not be surprised if he knocked Kelly out.
Yeah, same. Especially if Kelly starts to get desperate for takedowns after he's getting pieced up on the feet, and like that's when you start running into knees and stuff like that. So, yeah, but we can move on. We have another one here that's the records make it look a little bit closer than it is. We have Syrian Clark taking on Zibinzui Ruiz. We're gonna just go with
Ruiz. No. There's a new opponent, man.
What?
I just saw it. Yep. Believe me.
When did it change? Like today?
It's not even on Tapology yet, but I saw it on like Twitter or something. Yeah, today. I'm pretty sure like this morning. I don't even think the line's out, man.
Who's the new opponent?
How do I say his name? Hold up, I got it here. It's Tomas Granval.
Okay, let me pull this guy up on Tapology. Let's see.
It's not even up on Tapology yet. It's weird, but
he's
it's
probably got a record. How do you spell Granval?
Gronvall. Yeah, this is like not on Tapology. It's pretty much nowhere, but I did pretty much confirm it by going to
the Tank Engine.
Yeah,
12-7.
He's stepping in. I didn't see what happened. It's not on anywhere really, but I'm just I was breaking that down because I was like, shit, I like this matchup here for Clark. Honestly,
yeah, it was easy money.
Yeah,
I had a parlay and everything.
I was literally going to tell you like, oh, this is probably one of the pieces for our parlay. And then now they got a new opponent.
So now
I think he probably does win this fight, but he's probably going to be a big favorite because it's like a couple of days notice.
And so I'm looking at this guy here. I'm looking at his stuff. He's fought some decent competition.
Yeah, his losses are the top guys.
Yeah,
so, solid.
No shame in that.
Yeah, I mean they threw him to the absolute wolves in some of these fights, bro.
Yeah, and even that loss to like Wilson Hayes is like, I mean, he's old, like because that was what 2 years ago, so he'd have been like probably late 30s still for Wilson Hayes.
He fought that Khurshid Kakarov dude.
That's a tough fight. Yeah, he's interesting. Okay, well, so that changes things a lot.
Yeah,
that's very interesting. I'll still take Clark, but yeah, that's it's a bit of a doozy.
It's kind of two grapplers, and I feel like short notice, Clark is gonna have the better wrestling. Like I went through and literally like 2 hours. I should have hit you up and made sure you knew, but I was
Yeah,
just
I
like
had no idea.
opened the guy's Instagram out and caught a couple clips real quick, like just to see like what I'm working with here. Seems like a grappler, jiu-jitsu guy, but I mean the takedowns even on his own Instagram were like pretty ugly. So I was like, I think this guy's probably getting brought in to do the job. But we can't really talk too much about it because we don't even have a line. So it's hard to we can't really give betting analysis without a line. So I do think Clark wins, but unfortunately, they screwed us.
yeah, that's a doozy. Okay, well, I guess we're both on Clark, but like kind of just by default, really. But yeah, that's it. Because I thought Clark was going to win for sure before. In fact, I had him parlayed up. And then this guy stepping in on short notice is kind of like, I mean, that sucks for him. And Clark's the guy that the Bellator brass, I guess we're now the PFL brass, want to push. But we can move on. You can kick this one off. We have Joseph Luciano taking on Stephen Hill. And how do you see this one going?
Yeah, this is actually the only bet I have on the card, man, so far. There's a couple that I'm thinking about. We'll talk about it, but this was one that, dude, when I saw, I really missed the boat because, well, I didn't as bad as the line has gotten now, but Luciano was he's opened as an underdog, and I try to be really quick on these when I bet Bellator and when I bet Dana White Contender Series. Like I try to be as quick as I can, but my God, like people destroyed that line. But I got him at -130. I just think he's a better fighter, man. Honestly, like I've never really been high on Stephen Hill. I mean, he's scrappy, dude's tough. I mean, he's decent everywhere. He's not like, he's pretty decently well-rounded, but he likes to mix in the takedowns and do a little grappling himself. And I just don't really see him being able to do that here. Luciano, like you were talking about with what's her name, Leah McCourt getting that win over Monofero. This guy, kind of people have been talking about all week. Like he did fight Carlos Prates, and it was like one of two Prates' fights that went to decision. So yeah, I mean that was a long time ago, but something to just mention. And I mean, other than that, his only other loss was that Jonathan McAuliffe dude. That was it's not like that's some world beater, but I mean, dude was big, friggin' jacked up, looking like he was on all the supplements. And took it to a decision. I actually like this Luciano dude, man. I mean, had a long amateur career, which is something I always like to see. Fought that Andreas Gustafsson dude on the amateur scene. And I mean, this wasn't just any amateur scene. He was doing those like IMMF United World Championships where like sometimes like, especially like for these amateurs, like you don't really have any say. So like it's way harder for these guys to pick matchups.
Oh, yeah, you can't. I remember as an amateur when I was fighting. I mean, I guess I don't know what it's like in other like countries and stuff, but like around here, like in Nebraska specifically, my first amateur fight, I had an opponent or whatever, and then come the weigh-in day, turns out I'm fighting up a weight class against somebody totally different, and it's like, oh, okay, like what are you gonna do? Like you just not fight, I guess, but like you don't usually know your opponent until less than a week in advance anyway, unless you're like at the top of the card on the poster, and then it's usually a pro fight. So like amateurs, you have no clue.
Yeah, I mean, dude's got a lot of experience, honestly, and I mean, I like what I've seen so far. Like he can go the 15, got some submissions. Seems even though he doesn't have a ton of, what does he have? Like one knockout, but honestly, I think that's going to change. I honestly wouldn't even be shocked if he got the knockout here, man. Like I don't know, man. I just think Luciano's like much better. I'll honestly be surprised. Hey, maybe I'll eat my words. I don't tend to, I mean, it's not like big chalk, but I mean, now I think he's like -180. So, beat some line movement there, which isn't always something I'm great at. Sometimes I take my time too much, but, did my job here, even though some people got like +220 or something ridiculous.
If you got
I don't know what the odds makers were thinking because Bet Online's usually pretty sharp, but I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm missing something here, but every fight that I got to watch online of Stephen Hill, I'm just like, dude, this dude's amateur, man. Like he's just
I mean, he's like
wild.
He's decent, but yeah, like you said, like Luciano's the side. Like he's a better fighter. Hill could pull it off. Like, he's tough, like you said, but like he would need a lot of things to fall into place for him. I think Luciano wins at a pretty good clip here. Anybody that got him as an underdog, good for them. I did not. I missed the boat. I don't know if I'm going to bet him now at, -2 something. In fact, I haven't had a lot of action on a Bellator card in a while. And last week I meant to, but I missed out because I was too busy and I didn't get a bet. I kept telling myself I'm going to bet on Larkin to win by KO because that's what he does. And then it happened, and I was like, "You idiot! You could have had that." It was such an easy bet to make, and I just didn't get around to placing the bet. It's kind of a pain in the ass for me to bet because I live in Nebraska where you can't online bet. You have to either go to the casino or I have to drive across the state line to bet online. So
can't you use like a non-US book?
Yeah, but I also have a YouTube channel where I tell people what to bet. So if I get caught doing that, technically I could get in a little bit of trouble there. So, I try to keep it on the safe, keep on the, because technically it's still illegal to bet on the offshore books. And if I would admit to that online, that would be an admission of guilt. So,
oof, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
What am I talking about?
Yeah, you know what I mean. So I definitely do think that, but Luciano's the side though. But yeah, at the line, it's tough.
I just think he takes him down and submits him. I get that people like Hill's. We haven't really seen that happen, but that's just because of who he's fought. I think this is a step up, and I think Luciano's going to take him down and have his way with him, man.
There's a chance that if the line opened at -200 for Luciano, I'd still think there's value on it. But I think it's just because he was a +200 underdog and it's moved so much. I'm like, oh, the value's gone. But
I do the same thing sometimes. I almost did that here, but now I was almost like, nah, never mind. I missed the line, and then I bet it, and then a day passed or a day and a half, and he was -180.
Yeah, he should win, but we can move to the next one. We have a couple more good fights. This one's actually a fight that I find interesting. It's Mike Shipman versus Abdul Basset, I think is how you say it. I'm probably gonna screw that up. Honestly, I like the underdog here. I think Shipman gets it done. I don't understand why he's an underdog. I mean, it's only a slight underdog, but you can still win at +130 on DraftKings. But he opened as the favorite on DraftKings, and I think he might have opened as a favorite elsewhere. On BetOnline, no, he opened as an underdog. So, but yeah, the line has moved a ton. Wow, when did that open? Oh, yeah, okay. Interesting. But yeah, the line has moved quite a bit. I think Shipman's the side. I think he's fought the better level of competition. I mean, something that I think is kind of funny is that for Basset's Tapology picture is a picture of him with a busted up face. So that's kind of...
Yeah, I was laughing at that too.
I'm like, man, they did you dirty here.
I mean, I guess he just thinks it looks badass, but it's
You just look like you got your ass handed to you, man.
Yeah.
But he was also holding the championship belt in the photo. So to be fair, he clearly won the fight. But yeah, man, I think Shipman's aside. I think he's fought the better competition. I think he's beaten the better competition. I understand he's got 4 losses instead of 2, and they both have 16 wins. But I don't think that's. I mean, there's a reason one guy is ranked in the worldwide rankings and one of them's ranked in the Middle East, and that's kind of just, I think Shipman's better. But what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. This is a spot that I was thinking about playing the dog. I mean, like I said, that tends to be how I play these cards. Is I try to find those 1 or 2 dogs that stick out on me because there's not a whole lot of dogs on PFL and Bellator, but there always tends to be 1 or 2 that call my name, and he's at the top of my list. I haven't bet him because I've been watching the line, and again, unless you were, I mean, he opened up +165. And literally 10 minutes later, he was -130,
which is better.
Now he's gone back up. So now I'm like, okay, let me sit back. I'm in no rush. If I don't feel like I need to rush, if the line's going to be either staying the same or moving in my direction, then I'll just sit back, collect the data, wait, make sure there's no pullouts, make sure nothing weird happens, and sit back and, maybe I get an even better line. But yeah. I'm going to keep, I want to watch a little bit more tape on this Abdul guy. But, I mean, yeah, like you said, he's training over there at SMB Academy.
Which is a great name, honestly.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like London Shoot Fighters is some crazy gym. But, I mean, they got some fighters over there. MVP does some of his training over there. They got a bunch of guys who, they don't they got that Pavel Dorotai dude. I watched him fight. They got John Hathaway. They got a bunch of guys with 30 fights. at least, like even if they're not like well-known guys. And then Abdul over here, like just training with guys I've literally never heard. Like I haven't heard of a single person. And then I went through like see what I could find. Oh, maybe he's doing some training elsewhere, but like I don't know, man. I just who you are who you train with sometimes. I mean, not in every case, but like, it definitely makes a difference. And also like his style alone, like, I don't know, man. I'm not super impressed. He's 16-2, but against who? Mike Shipman has
his
actually fought like
competition is
decent
bad.
guys. Yeah. He's got a lot. And what does he have? Yeah, he's got 10 Bellator fights, man. Like, it's not like they're like, oh, we got to give Shipman a bunch of favorable matchups. Like, nah, man. Like,
No, they tried to build a hill off him.
Yeah. So, and he's getting it done, 7-3. So,
And look at who he's lost to in Bellator. He lost to Costello Vancinas, who's had a rough patch, but he was still pretty gosh darn good. Split decision Fabian Edwards, and that Gregory Bebenet. Dude, that guy was starching everybody for a while there. So it's not like he's lost to anybody that's like a trash can. His other loss was his first fight in pro fight.
Yeah.
Or his first pro fight. Actually, his first fight overall, like, looks like, but you never know. Back then, amateur records were kind of hard to keep track of. But yeah, so I mean, like, he's fought like good competition, and I don't see this guy as on the level of them. Maybe he is, but it's hard. I mean, based on his level of competition and how he's looked against them, I don't think so.
And he just wrecked Stephen Hill in that last one.
Yeah.
Speaking of Stephen, but yeah, no, the only thing that scares me is, other than that Hill fight, he hasn't been like super active. Like that's his only fight in like the last year and a half. But it's not like he's old. Like he's 34. He's still got time. It's middleweight, like 34 at middleweight. He's good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
He's got time. And I mean, if it was the other way around, it'd be more scary. But he's the one with 10 Bellator fights. If he was the guy coming in 16-2 against literally, I can't name a single opponent, at least from what I remember. Let me look. Like, I remember looking through this list earlier, and I'm just like, who? Like, what is? I mean, UAE Warriors is pretty legitimate promotion, but like,
yeah, they're not bad for regional.
He literally, okay, first of all, he fought every single one of those wins went to decision, and then I'm telling you, like, typically when I see UAE Warriors, I'm like, okay, pretty legit, but like, this is the bottom of the barrel UAE Warriors, dude. He literally fought like the worst guys in their freaking middleweight division. Like, I mean, typically
their middleweight division over at UAE Warriors isn't exactly the deepest of their divisions. They've got some good divisions. Middleweight's not it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying it's all his fault. I'm just saying at the end of the day, like these guys he's fighting were like jobbers. So, and he can't even get them out of there. Like, his style was pretty boring. He did, like, I don't know, man. I don't think Bellator is like, oh, we gotta build on this Abdul guy. Like, bro, his fights are not entertaining. I watched like 3 of his fights and I was like struggling. I'm like, let me put this on 2x until something happens, because I can't, like, this is killing me.
I think I just talked myself into betting Shipman right here. I think you just helped talk me into it. I think I'm gonna do that tonight, like when I'm like after we're off this.
I mean, he's got the finish upside. And like, if it's close, he's probably going to get the nod because he's just going to outwork him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just not huge on this Abdul guy, man. Like, the tape I saw, like, I was one fight into watching his tape, and I was like, this is either dog or pass for me. Like, there ain't no way in hell I would bet this guy at chalk. 16-2 my ass. There's a couple people on this card that I'm like, we're going to talk about one of the biggest can crushers I've ever seen here in America.
Okay.
But yeah, I got Shipman. Yeah, I probably will. The only reason, like I said, I haven't bet it is because it was looking like the line might get even better. But yeah, I probably will end up with he might be my favorite underdog on the card.
There you go. I mean, as far as underdogs go, yeah, he's definitely my favorite underdog on the card.
Yeah, actually, he is. He is my favorite underdog now that I look at the card.
But we can move on. There are some good fights, and there are a couple spots where underdogs actually might have a shot. But the next fight, I'm going to let you kick it off, but it's actually probably my favorite fight on the card. We've got another couple of undefeated guys. Archie Kogan at 10-0, taking on Manuel Souza at 11-0. And, yeah, I mean, somebody's always got to go. Who do you think takes it? Who do you think gets that first loss?
Yeah, man, honestly, I get that they don't want to put this as the main event because maybe they're not the biggest names. I would have loved it as the main event, but I wish this was at least a co-main, man. Like, I mean, that Powell fight's pretty fun, but like, dude, this is a good fight, man. This is probably like the most high level fight on the entire card, in my opinion. Like I actually could see these guys like fighting in the UFC, honestly. Like
For sure.
I genuinely like both these guys. I don't really love picking against either because yeah, man, they're both exciting. They both I mean, well, I guess some people like I think Kogan's fights are exciting. Some people don't like his style, but hey, man, like he ain't just laying praying. Like he'll smash dudes, and even when he's taking them down, like dude's freaking explosive, bro. He'll like slam your ass into the mat and ground and pounds there. Not like a huge submission threat, but I think maybe we'll see a couple more submissions out of him as he just dominates some of these dudes on top. And then dude clearly hits hard. Like if you are on the feet with him, it's not like, I mean, he doesn't have the most technical striking, but like he cracks. I could see him getting the knockout. Yeah, I think he wins the fight here regardless, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, Souza's good too, man. Like this dude's legit. I honestly like both of them. He knocked out Tim Wild, who we're going to be talking about in a bit. That's pretty. I mean, Wild on the feet is pretty good, pretty dangerous. He beat Mauricio Rufy, Mauricio Rufy. I don't know why I was butchering that, but and then even couple submissions, couple knockouts. I mean, yeah, like a couple of these guys. He said like he submitted that Trevor Ollison fight. I can watch that online. It's like, okay, yeah, that dude was a total bomb, but like, he hasn't fought the highest level of competition, but at the same time, he's going in there and treating them accordingly and like getting them out of there. I think this is a good fight, man. I think the line. No, I guess I probably could. I think there might still be some value on Kogan, but it's tough to want to bet 2-1. Like if you're a parlay guy, I do think Kogan wins the fight. I'm not a huge parlay guy, but like when we get to building parlays, he'd be somebody I'd consider because I do feel like he's a better guy, and I think he can get the takedowns because even though they're both dangerous, I do feel like Kogan should have him covered in the wrestling. So, as long as he can just go out there and start shooting some takedowns and not just fight on the feet for 15, which I don't think he will do. I think he gets it done. He's just got the wrestling upside. So I'm going to say he gets it done, but, I don't have any bets on it yet because 2-1, I don't love fading Souza, but I do like Kogan here, man. I think he gets it done. What about you? I think he's probably going to get I want to say a ground and pound finish, but at the same time, Souza's pretty tough, man. I don't know. Path of victory or, method of victory is tough for me, but I think he wins the fight. That's all.
I think he gets a decision. I think it's Kogan for sure for me. Yeah. I always have at least one parlay per week because I have my Patreon parlay. It's basically like, what? Here's a good chance for me to explain the Patreon parlay. Because a lot of people, when they sign up for the Patreon, they don't quite understand what the Patreon parlay is. So what we do, we have our base, right? Our base is basically the either the props or the fighters that we think are like, okay, these are almost the most sure things, and we try to get whatever we need to get to almost even money, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere from -120 and better, but closer to +100 is ideal. So that's what you get. And that's if that hits, you're going to break even on the parlay at least. Then you take the profit. You keep your stake. You take the profit from your base and you divide it by 2. We're doing a little bit of math, long division. I know, divided by 2. It's okay. And you take half of that and you play the base again with the extra leg or legs, which is like the second tier up. And then you take the other half and you play it with the base and then the extra legs and then what we call the degen legs, which are like, we're getting ridiculous here. And that usually gets you like a pretty big number. We've got some pretty good success rates. I mean, we rarely miss the base, so we always at least break even. But yeah, I mean, there's always at least one parlay, and it does get a little sketchy sometimes. But I will say Archie Kogan is part of it because I think Archie Kogan wins this fight. I think he gets a decision. I think it's a close fight in the first round, but I think Kogan's going to start finding that he can get the takedowns, and I think he's going to use that to his advantage, and I think that's what he's going to do to win. And it's not that I think that Kogan's lost on the feet. I just think he's smart enough to realize that the takedowns are going to be his best path, and I think he's going to go to it. So, with the Clark fight changing, that actually dropped off one of my legs in my parlay. So we need Kogan here to cash. So he's part of my extra division. So that's legit. I like it. We're both on Kogan. So far, I'm pretty sure we've agreed on every fight except for the first one, and that wasn't really hard to disagree.
It's not a real pick.
Right. It's because we had to.
Yeah, it's like, you can't really look me in the eyes and tell me you're super confident in that fight.
Yeah, no chance.
I'm going to tell you you're a liar.
Yeah, anybody that's confident either knows one of the fighters or like knows something behind the scenes, because I don't know.
But I used to do that too, though. By the way, I used to do parlays like that a lot, and then honestly, like the beginning of this year, it was like parlays were not, dude. It was like, remember at the beginning of this year, like the first couple months, it was like just freaking underdogs were just like busting parlays.
I was getting killed.
There was some big there was some big underdogs cashing, and I've always been like an underdog. Like, I'm not somebody who, first of all, I don't think it's smart to like really hone on like, this is my style, this is what I do. Like, nah, play the lines that you think are of value. But at the same time, like, I tend to look at, I don't like parlaying a ton or like playing. I like to try to play like a pretty conservative game of like,
same,
pick my spots, find some plus money that I like, take a couple like long shot props that I think I would shot at cashing. But at the same time, like, I try to have like a conservative win week by week, even if it's a small win. That's just my approach. But I used to be all about like, these are my two I didn't do the like math part of like really make it perfect. I was just like, all right, these are my two anchors, and then add this guy, and then add these two, and then add these two, So there's a lot of people that I respect that make money week after week doing stuff like that. But I personally, after like I got to like halfway through the year, and I was like, wow, I'm killing it on the money lines. I'm killing it on the I was killing it on the money lines, and I was doing solid, making profit on my props. And the only thing I was losing on was my parlays. So I was like, all right, simple math.
Cut it out.
Gotta do what I'm good at, clearly, and gotta cut out something else, because I was just having the worst luck. I would cash I would smooth sail through all but one leg, and they just slip on a banana peel. So, but yeah.
MMA tips, like parlays are probably my biggest winner. So that's pretty wild.
Nice. Hey, everybody's style, man. You got to lean into what.
Probably because that Patreon parlay, we're gonna start calling it the new beacon in this community. You know what I mean? I'm just
hey, man. If you find what works for you, keep doing it.
Yeah, and like that, a lot of times, like my parlays are just like, well, they're like, if you can find two guys that you really like that are both in like the minus 200 range, all of a sudden you throw them together and you got a pretty easy parlay. But not always, but sometimes, like a lot of times. Like, everybody this week seems to be making the parlay for the UFC anyway with Zellhuber and Jauregui. And like, I get it. They probably both win, but like, who knows? What if one of them drops the ball,
You'll never in a million years catch me parlaying a minus 500 women's MMA fighter.
I bet Jauregui straight at minus 275, like up like a month ago, maybe. I don't know. It wasn't maybe not a month ago, but it was a while ago. Because like when I saw that line, I was like, this is stupid. Like I'm definitely going for that. So
yeah, that's an actual playable line. I do think she's gonna probably smoke Souza. I just it's just women's MMA minus 500. Like I'm out. I'm good. It's just never worth it for me. Like, it's probably going 15. These judges suck. So if she doesn't absolutely destroy her, like minus,
she'll absolutely destroy her. It's not going to be close.
Yeah. I think she's going to beat her up. She might even finish her. It's just
like, I would bet Jauregui straight at this line, to be honest. I'm like 100%. She's winning that fight. But yeah, like we got here, parlay shouldn't be centered around long shots but big favorites. Yeah, the center of it definitely. And then as you build on it, that's when you like, okay, you got this one. They already covered the big bet. So that's kind of what we do with the Patreon parlay. You can actually check it out. It's links in the description. So there you go. You guys can check it out. We can move on. What do we got next? We've got Mark DeCasey taking on Tim Wild. I hate this because I want so badly to pick Tim Wild. I do, but I'm not going to. But I want to because I want him to win. Because for whatever reason, I like Tim Wild. I think I just like how he fights. And like he could win this fight. He really could win this fight. But I think Deacey knows that if he stays striking, sure, Deacey could win because he's a good striker. But Tim Wild's very dangerous on the feet, and it's a harder matchup. And if Deacey starts shooting takedowns on him, I think he's got a whole lot better path to victory because holding Tim Wild down is the way you beat the guy. He's hard to hold down. He's squirmy. He tries to get back to his feet pretty well. But I think Deacey is going to mix in the takedowns like he started doing towards the end of his UFC run. And unfortunately, I think he's going to cruise to his decision. But I so badly want to take Tim Wild. But what do you think on this one?
Yeah, no, I mean, I do like Tim Wild, and I know why you like him. Dude's a freaking dog, man. He goes in there and just tries to knock dudes out, man. He puts on entertaining fights. And even when he's losing these fights, like, you're going to find yourself rooting for him most times. I mean,
he's 17-5 for a reason.
Yeah, no, he's good, man. Honestly, like when I first saw this matchup, I was like, oh, okay. They're giving Mark like he's gonna smash this guy, and then like because I really had to go through and watch some of his fights because I was only really seeing Tim when I would break down past opponents. But yeah, no, dude's got hands. He could definitely knock Mark out. It's just we're talking about D1 Deacey, man.
Yep.
Like, he's gonna go out there and shoot 10 takedowns. So I do think he wins, man. Honestly, minus 185. Like I'm tempted to honestly play that money line.
Really? I would stay far away at that line.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. Mark Deacey, like he's been a guy that has burned a lot of people when he's been a favorite. But yeah, I mean, I think I don't know. I think 31 years old. He got released. Well, not released, but he didn't get re-signed off a win. I honestly think a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Like he's still plenty young. I think he's going to go in here and D1 Deacey him up, man. Like, I like Wild, and dude, definitely, if Mark goes in there and tries to do what he used to do, and he's trying to, like, reestablish himself, like, back how he used to fight with the flashy striking, it's crazy, dude. He's up there with some of the biggest, like style changes I've ever seen. Like, think about it. Like, how often do you see a guy just completely change their style? Like after getting to the UFC. Honestly, like off the top of my head, if I sat down, I'd think of better examples. But like top of my head, I literally cannot think of somebody who did a more drastic. Dude, he literally went from that guy who came in with the red mohawk and tried to spinning wheel kick your head off to a guy who we call D1 Deacey.
The only person I would say that did the reverse would be Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, but even when he was a wrestler, like he was more of like a defensive wrestler. Like
nah. Back in the World Series of Fighting days, go back and watch.
He did get some slams. He did slams.
Yeah, he just wrestled most people though. Like he would just wrestle and ground and pound him was his goal. But yeah, now
he just uses that wrestling to slam. I mean to Chuck Liddell dudes, swing and bang. But yeah, no man, I like Wild, and I get why anybody would. And maybe if Mark decides to strike with him, then yeah. I mean, I've seen Wild stuff some takedowns, so it's not like he just got no wrestling. But
right,
I don't know. I think Deacey, I think he still has plenty left in the tank, man. Honestly, I don't know. I don't agree with them not re-signing him. I mean, yeah, the Michael Johnson loss was pretty bad. Joel Alvarez, like that was a tough matchup, honestly.
I mean, we all saw what Joel Alvarez did in his last fight against Elvis Brenner.
Yeah, man. Like
Alvarez is tough for anybody.
And that's a tough matchup. Like you're a guy who doesn't have the craziest jiu-jitsu, but you just can hit takedowns, and you're gonna fight this freaking giant whose whole thing is like, please take me down. I have 0% takedown defense, but I'm gonna submit you when you do so. So yeah, I mean, honestly, Mark had his moments too until that happened. Like, I was like, okay, he's gonna get some wrestling going. Oh, he's sleeping. But,
But, yeah, I mean, no shame in that. But yeah, I think Mark is the side. I can't bet him. Maybe it's because I like Tim Wild, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'd bet him even if it was even money. If Deacey was an underdog, I'd bet him. But like that's just would be silly. But that'd be the only way. I don't think I'd even bet him at minus 110 each. I just don't. I don't know that I think there's too much of a likelihood that Tim Wild just cracks him and puts him out because he's done that to so many people that he shouldn't have done it to. And you're like, all right, let's just stay away from Tim Wild fights. If you're going to bet against Tim Wild, you stay away. Is what I always think. But
I mean, if you're going to bet him, I think you do take the knockout though. Like, what's the knockout?
For sure. What is the knockout prop for Tim Wild?
Because I really would be surprised if he won a decision, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That would surprise.
Wild
Oh my
KO's
god,
650.
650, dude.
Okay.
That might be playable, bro.
You might throw a sprinkle on that and get yourself something. Who knows?
Because he's not gonna. I won't say he's not like he just won. I mean, he's won 3 of his last 4 wins were decisions, but at the same time,
Those
like
weren't fights that guys were trying to lay on him either.
yeah, I think Mark Diakiese is literally going to shoot 10 takedowns.
MMA clips. The knockout prop for Tim Wild is plus 650, and Tim Wild, that's his path in this fight.
Yeah, I'm writing that down. I might play that.
Yeah,
even I for just like Boston Bellator, but like I was not expecting that. I was expecting like plus 450, plus 500.
Yeah. And then once you're done writing that down, we can move on to the next fight. We don't have to spend much time on it. It is supposedly a setup fight, which I kind of get. We got Luke Trainer taking on Larinus Urbanovicius, I think is how you say that. I probably screwed that up. But Urbanovicius and Trainer, both guys with really good records, but oh, here we go. Got Wild at plus 200. I don't mind that at all, honestly. If you're gonna play a side, I think Wild's the side to play. But I think Deacey wins, so I'm picking Deacey. I hate it. So I'm with you, Clips. I want to play it. I can't. I just can't. But yeah, who do you think in this one, Cody? Do you got Trainer, or do you got the massive underdog?
Nah, I mean, Trainer should be. Oh yeah, no. First of all, let me lead with this. This is who I was talking about. With the friggin' most ridiculous can crusher. My God, this dude, I mean, absolutely disgusting. Like, bro, like
he's coming off a win over a 0-0.
How do you have 15 pro fights? Like, where's his promotion? UTMA. Oh, of course. It's in Lithuania because he is Captain Lithuania. Friggin' stupidest nickname ever. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm also super biased. Like, I am rooting so hard against this guy because, dear God, like, I mean, thank God MMA karma is going to come back and he's going to get smashed in this fight because if you have 50, I'm sorry, straight up, like, I'm all about, oh, my manager's trying to give me a good fight, yada. I don't even care. If you have 15 pro fights and you fight a guy who's 0-0, you're a bitch.
Like, maybe somebody pulled out, but, like, I don't know. It doesn't look like that. Based on his other fights, I don't know.
Disgusting, dude. Like, my God. Just fighting absolute bums. I actually went through and just watched like 2 of those fights. Like, I don't even remember which fights it was. I think one of them was Xavier, who was actually like not bad. Who we're going to be talking about in a minute. But that's like the only guy he's ever fought that had a pulse. All these other guys, even like, oh, okay, 16-4. No, he's a bum. Like, oh, okay, this guy over here, at least he's got 40 fights. His 40 fights were against bums. Like,
yeah, when you look at the records, you're like, what in the world?
Absolute can crusher to the maximum. Look up can crusher on Urban Dictionary. They have a picture of this guy's face right there next to it. Like, disgusting.
The guy, Victor Dell, that he fought in, like, I don't know, it was like his 3rd fight, went on to become 1-7 as a pro.
Yeah, he fought a guy 3 fights after that was 12-34. The guy now, you want to? Oh my God,
was it like 12-80?
He's like a paid loser. Like, oh, okay, he was 12-34 when they fought him. You want to know what his record is now?
What is it now?
12-54.
Jeez.
He lost 20 fights in a row after losing. So basically, he's a guy who gets paid to go in there and take a loss. He's building.
Clips is looking at the over 1.5. I don't know. I really don't know.
You know, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I was looking at that too, just because it's minus 130, and I don't think Lucas Trainer is like, like freaking enormous dude, but it's not like.
I mean, he's sub 12 and Colby in the first round.
Yeah, no, the submission would be the way he would get the first round sub.
Right.
Or, I mean, the first round, like he would beat that over 1.5 would be the submission, because I don't really see him knocking the dude out. But then again, like, he might just go in there and be like, oh, I'm actually fighting a real fighter. Check, please. First time he gets hit. Like, this dude is an absolute bully, and we know what happens to bullies. Like, when they finally have to fight somebody who has a pulse, they quit. And that's what's going to happen. Trainer's going to make this dude quit. He's going to break him. I think he knocks him out or I think he submits him probably in the second round. But he also is like enormous. Like, dear God,
He's like
honestly,
6'6".
in my opinion, like once you get to like 6'6", now we're getting into serious. Like, unless you're the exception who really typically, like when guys are that lanky, their defense is not great. Their chin is up.
Yeah.
They do the tall man defense. And I mean, Luke Trainer, like you definitely see some of that. But then again, I give people a pass for doing that when they're fighting guys that like you can just tell they're not feeling a ton of a threat coming back. So,
Right.
you know, maybe he'll be a little bit more clean coming into this fight, but I don't think it's going to matter. Not that he's some great wrestler, but I think he can just body lock this guy, throw him to the ground, just be way bigger, more athletic, just do what he wants to him. This is going to be
He's going to choke him out in the first round.
Yeah.
I think so.
The
I think first round Rune can choke for Trainer.
Yeah. It probably will be either a first or second round sub. But yeah, I could see the first round just because, like I said, this dude has literally fought nobody. He's probably just coming in like, okay, whatever, I'll take a quick L, and then I'll go beat 5 more bums after this. So we can move on, man. Luke Trainer's going to submit this guy easy.
Yeah, we both agree there. Next one, I'll go ahead and kick it off. We got Simeon Powell taking on Rafael Xavier. And yeah, I mean, people were kind of down on Powell after he got that first loss. He was a pretty hyped up prospect, lost to Jacob Neto. The dust has kind of settled a little bit since then. I mean, it's been quite some time, like 9-10 months, something like that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like people are going to be back on board with him. Obviously, the line reflects it. I don't think Xavier's bad. I just don't think he's I don't think he's that good. I think Neto cracks, and I think that's just what happens sometimes. I think Simeon Powell's not too bad. I think he's probably going to get the win. As for method of victory, could he get? Do I think he gets the KO? I think he does. Actually, I'm going to go with submission. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go with a submission for Simeon Powell. It's probably going to be like a club and sub, and that's what I think happens. But what about you?
Yeah, dude. So for me, this would not be one I'd be trying to parlay because, and it's not even about the fact that Powell got knocked out in his last fight. I honestly don't think this guy's that bad, man. I don't think Xavier's that bad. He started out his career 7-6, and he's only been finished once. Like most of the time, these are decisions, but I honestly think 1, he's improved a ton. 2, look at the physique change. Like, dude is fucking jacked now. And if you look at the beginning of his career, like he clearly wasn't taking his career nearly as seriously. I don't know what he's changing about that strength and conditioning program, but definitely is working out well for him. And again, like I never like betting these big favorites. Like at least with Trainer, like I think even though he's not the greatest wrestler, like his style is going to be less risk adverse. Whereas I really feel like, bro, I would not be shocked if Xavier knocked him out, honestly. Like, I wouldn't. Xavier's, dude, this guy's got a chin. He can take a shot. Don't get me wrong. Like, he should be a decent underdog. But honestly, like, I think this line's a little crazy. Like, -600 coming off getting starched. And Xavier, I think it's people are looking at, like, that record a little too much. Like, he's got 7 losses. Yeah. I get it. It's not pretty, but, like, he's made a lot of improvements, and I honestly think he's pretty decent everywhere. Little plotty, so I do think like 86-inch reach. That's longer than John Jones. So like, I get it. Again, I'm just saying like the line's a little wide. I think Powell should be like -350, -400. So I clearly think he wins at a high clip. It's just this is one where I'm not -600 confident. That's all.
So here's the deal, though. Xavier lost to that Urbanovicius guy, which is
like I know we were just shitting on it. That is bad. I couldn't find
that guy. And then also like 3 fights ago, he went to a split decision and lost with like a 10-9 guy.
Yeah,
I mean it was an octagon, which is a good promotion, but like at the same time, 10-9, like you shouldn't be going to a split decision at all with them guys.
It is weird because when you watch his skills, I don't think he's that bad, but like he's
inconsistent.
He's not doing good at just getting the dub, which is a thing. Some people like look at Drickus. You look at all the things he does. You're like, oh, this guy he's gonna get knocked out. He's so just unorthodox and ugly, but he knows how to win. And a guy like Xavier looks pretty technical or well-rounded and stuff.
Doesn't know how
looks
to win.
The part. Like taking his career more serious, got jacked as hell, but like doesn't know how to secure minutes and get wins. So, yeah, I mean, again, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate because I do think the line's a little wide, but at the end of the day, like the Bellator knows what they're doing. Like this is supposed to be like a bounce back fight. Xavier, his whole career has been the B-side, and he is the B-side again.
Yeah. I think Powell's gonna get it, but I mean, like, he is coming off a knockout. Maybe his chin's gone now, but JD, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Glad you made it out. It's always nice to see JD. We always chat in the comments, so it's always good. Always good when JD makes it. Got to update that that profile picture though, man. Just the J just doesn't do it. We need more. We need more, man. But otherwise, JD, it's always good to see you. We can move on to the main event. You can kick this one off. We have an interesting main event. It's not the original main event, but it is the main event now. It's at the women's featherweight. We have Leah McCourt taking on Sarah Collins. Now, the thing that's interesting is this fight is basically we have one side of this fight with more than double the experience of the other, and that's interesting. So what do you think in this one? Leah McCourt, Sarah Collins, who do you have?
Yeah, I mean, I wish this wasn't the main event, but it is what it is. It's only a 3-rounder, something to think about, because it is like a late notice, so they didn't want to bump it to 5.
And Bellator doesn't actually always do 5 rounds in the main event.
Yeah, and I actually like that. Like
same title fights are the only thing that should be 5 rounds.
Make five rounds when it's title fight, or like there's been rare occasions. Like what was the recent co-main where it was? There's a couple where I'm like, okay, I actually kind of like that at the same time, even though I also think like it shouldn't just be a 5-round no matter what. Like when you got 2 big old sloppy heavyweights, just because the main event, let's not do 5 rounds.
I think it should just be only title fights.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that. But at the same
time, or
make
all fights just like no time limit again.
Hey, you're preaching to the freaking choir right now because
no time limit, no rounds
for it. Like let's just
allow headbutts.
We don't freaking enforce rules anyways, bro. Like, just screw it. No biting.
Well, they pick and choose.
No biting, and then just what? Everything else, go punch in the balls, bro. I don't even care. It's like nah. Obviously, I'm mostly joking, but at the end of the day, like either enforce the rules or get rid of them.
Because they enforce some, but they like cage grabs. They don't enforce whatsoever. You can do as much as you want. Nut shots, eye pokes, they just don't enforce. They're like, hey, don't do that. Like, okay, your weapons. Watch your weapons. But they don't do anything. But you headbutt somebody once, all of a sudden everybody throws a fit.
People were giving me crap on Twitter because I said, like, people were like, really? Like somebody tried to like dunk on me, like, you're a jiu-jitsu coach and you would condone people like, would you really tell your students to cheat? And I was like, yeah. If it was double their pay. And they're like, we're not talking about like the millionaires and stuff. Or even then, I guess but even more so, you're talking about guys making 12 or 24. Yes, brother, you're going to get 3 fights if you're lucky this year. Do you want 12 on this tonight when 7 of that's going to your coaches and flights and all this stuff, let alone if you break a bone or any of that? And you better hope it's like the UFC or one of these promotions that'll actually take care of you. But, 100% I'm telling my fighter, if you're down or if it's a close fight, don't even wait till you're losing. Go ahead and get 2,000. They're never going to take a point until you get to like 3. If you're
some regional shows, they will though. So you got to be careful. I've seen them take points immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah. Especially if you're the underdog and Vegas needs you to lose. But
in the UFC, you can just cheat.
Yeah, no. If you're in the UFC, man, like, dude, miss weight. First of all, miss weight once. You get 2 weight misses every like 5 fights. As long as it's not like 3 within 5 fights, you're gonna go under the radar. People will forget after like 3-4 days. They'll just be like,
like 10 pounds.
So and so, he got the win. He knocked that guy out. Anyways, moving on. Like, if you're losing, kick him in the balls. You get tired, poke him in the eyes. You're fighting a wrestler and there's 2 minutes on the clock and they get in deep on a double leg, grab the cage. You're crazy if you're not. Like, look at my boy Andre Lima. He called a timeout the other day. I loved it because I had money on him. I was like, hell yeah, get a couple more fouls in. Let's
insane.
But it's okay because I was on the other side and I had money on Severino and I lost a bet via bite. So I deserve to be on the other side.
There you go.
But yeah,
no. Get a DQ. That one was pretty egregious. You can't try to take a chunk out of somebody.
It's crazy because when they stopped the fight for a second, I was like, finally they take a point. Andre Lima kept grabbing the cage.
Yeah.
I was like, let's go. They're taking a point. We're already winning in my eyes, and now I'm about to get a point taken. I was literally celebrating, like, let's go.
Turns out dude bit him.
And then I was like, wait, what's going on? Hold up. Turn the TV up. And I was like, oh.
No.
And I was like, he didn't bite him. This dude's fit. And then they showed his arm. I was like,
you're gay. He definitely bit him.
Okay, yeah. That's a bite. But but getting back to this, I don't know how I got
main event. Let's hear it.
But main event, yeah, I mean, you did touch on it earlier. Leah McCourt did give Minot Farrow her first loss, her only loss. Farrow's only loss in her career is to McCourt. Now it was her first fight. If they rebooked that, I think it would look a lot.
To be fair, it was McCourt's second fight.
Let's 100%. I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying, like, it's not like this is like where they're at now. Like, things have changed a ton. I'm about to crack a nice cold beer here in a minute, but
well, me and Enrad can take or Enrad. I don't know. We can have our root beers.
Hey, I never drank, but I was about to grab one before I came in here. I was like, one while I break down the fights, and then I forgot it. But anyways, in this fight, man, I'm not like crazy impressed with either one. I mean, yeah, she has that win over Minot Farrow, but then look, I'm sorry. I'll actually give you a pass on losing to Kat Zingano even in the year 2023. But I'm sorry, like that's Sinead O'Connor or I almost said Sinead O'Connor. That's Sinead Kavanaugh fight.
Yeah,
man, that was pretty ugly, dude. Like that was not a good look. And then on the other hand, Sarah Collins did beat Sinead Kavanaugh. It was a close fight. Yeah, it was a close fight. Could have went either way. And then it's like outside of that, who she beat? I mean, Pam Sorensen. But like, come on, like, So it's tough to really like take too much away. I do like, honestly, I was surprised though when I saw the line because I was like, neither girl. It's like they haven't fought it. I mean, yeah, win over Minot Farrow, but outside of that, it's like you can't go too much off some of these fights. But at the same time, like girls still got twice the experience, and I think the grappling probably cancels out. I don't think they're going to do a ton of grappling here. I think it's probably going to play out mostly on the feet, and maybe Sarah Collins could win like a volume-based decision, but I think Leah McCourt's probably the more dangerous girl on the feet. And honestly, I was pretty impressed with that Sarah McMahon win. I get it's like the year 2024, but like, dude, that was the first time she'd been knocked out since Ronda Rousey. Like, prime Ronda from that knee to the body. But
and in the first round.
Yeah. She like, I was impressed there, man. I remember like, I didn't have any money on it, but I thought Sarah McMahon was going to take her down and wrestle her up. I was pretty surprised to see. And also like they had a couple wrestling exchanges and Sarah didn't just throw her around like I was expecting. So I was pretty impressed with that, honestly. I think, Leah McCourt should be the favorite, man. Like I don't have any money on it, but I'm tempted. I don't bet a ton of women's MMA, but when I do, it's 9 times out of 10 a dog. And this is a dog I like, man. I think I probably will get to it. I said I didn't know earlier. I was like, I think it's my favorite underdog. And this was the other one I was thinking about. I think overall, it is a better, even more plus money. But at the same time, probably like Shipman a little bit more. But it's also because I'm never super confident in women's MMA. And I'm not like super high on either of these girls. But Leah McCourt just has, the Kavanaugh loss is pretty tough. But it's not like Sarah Collins went in there and smoked Kavanaugh. Like they both had competitive fights, and one went one way and one the other. But at the same time, like the wins are much better for McCourt. So I think she's gonna be the better striker here. Win probably by decision, but does this guy like any favorite? Yeah,
you are the dog guy though.
Yeah, but I think I did pick 8 favorites on this card.
You did, but you're like, I don't know about the line, and like it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big chalk guy, especially when you're talking like minus 600s and shit. It's cage fighting, man. Like things happen in MMA. I'm not a big parlay guy. But yeah, I mean, I did pick at least 7 favorites. Actually, seven. I picked 3 favorites or underdogs, but one of them's like even. 2 of them are like even money. To be fair, like I'd love to say 3 underdogs, but realistically, McCourt and then that opening fight is like a half-ass pick.
Right, that one's sort of
like
count.
no tape, and so I'm not even gonna really count that. Realistically, we made 9 picks on this show, and I picked 2 dogs, kinda. But yeah, no, I feel you. But yeah, the pick's McCourt for me.
Same.
I was surprised she was the underdog. So, what do you think? You have anything?
I think she can. So I think so that both of them are going to look for them judo throws and stuff like that. And the thing is, I honestly think Leah McCourt's judo is probably going to be better. Maybe, I don't know. I think it's going to be better. I think McCourt's going to actually. She's cashed a lot of bets for me as an underdog too, so I'm kind of biased, but I think McCourt's going to get it done. I really do. Sarah Collins is good. She's cashed a lot of bets for me too so far, but I think McCourt is. I think this is going to be too big of a step up with how close that Kavanaugh fight was. I think McCourt had a rough night that night. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think the style Collins has is what you need to beat McCourt. You got to make it ugly. You got to land some heavy shots, and I don't think that's what Collins is going to do. I think she's going to try to use her judo, and I think McCourt's going to be able to shut her down. So easy enough. We're both on the plus 100 underdog. That's awesome because we actually lined up on every pick except for the first one that we didn't really want to make a pick on. So that's actually perfect because now it is time.
Making this next part easy.
Yeah, now we got to make a parlay, and if we agree on pretty much everything, now it's just finding the spots. We want to get this to at least plus money. I would like to see plus 200 or 300 be great. We can use props. We can use whatever. Maybe not too crazy of props, but like over-unders are fine. Do you have anything that immediately stands out to you as I'm going to use the Bet Online lines as well. So do you have anything that immediately stands out to you? My first thing that stands out is Archie Kogan.
Yeah, I like Kogan. I'm down to throw him on there. Line's not that crazy.
Yep.
Again, I actually think Souza's good, but I just think Kogan's better. It's not like we're not dealing with a minus 500. We're dealing with a minus 200. So, yeah, I would definitely include. Are we just making one parlay, or what are we doing? Are we doing
let's just do one, and let's try to get a good one because we only got 10 fights to work with, so making more than one might be tricky.
Okay. Yeah, I guess as far as like, if we're just making one, then I already have Luciano like on the money line, so now the line's gotten a little.
It's been 9 fights to work with because the Clark fight's not the right line; it's the wrong fight.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think Luciano's a good spot though for the parlay?
I mean, I have money on him, so he's my only bet before taping this. So
let's do it then.
I'm obviously pretty confident in him, even though the line has been blown, but it's only minus 200. Like
I guess that's the plus 123 already.
Yeah, I like those 2 spots.
JD likes Stephen Hill, which is interesting because I'm on the opposite side of Stephen Hill.
Yeah. Hey, good luck, JD. I'm on the other side, but hey, we're gonna find out here soon. I do like that fight. I seem a little bit more confident in Mark Deacey than you are, but so we can stay off that one.
Yeah, let's stay off Deacey.
Yeah, but I at the same time I say that I legitimately might be putting some money on that Wild by KO 650.
Yeah, exactly why I don't want to touch the Deacey line for parlay. I would actually even go Hertsenko over.
I was going to say that. That was my next one I was going to shout.
Yeah, minus 155. He might be my favorite spot outside of Kogan. And like outside of like obviously like trainer and stuff. But let's throw him in there. That'd be minus 155 a good spot.
Yeah, and honestly, there's not a lot of over-unders I like on this card, man. It's a lot of like guys who we haven't seen. They're it's like either a low-level fight or it's like a mismatch where a lot of things can happen. So there's not
like under 1.5 in the trainer fight, but
yeah, I do think because it probably will. If it's not first round, it's probably early second. Yeah, honestly, like.
Do you think we throw it in plus 100?
Plus 100 isn't bad at all for
because if with just those 3 beforehand, we're at plus 267. If we throw the plus 100 in there, we're at plus 634 already. Let's go.
Yeah. So wait, we got. Let me just make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. Yeah, I mean Shipman and McCourt. Like I would just play those straight if we're just making one parlay because those are
actually. What if we did this? What if JD's making me nervous here. What if we switched out Luciano for Shipman?
I'm cool with it because I already have a money line play at a much better line than -200. Like I probably wouldn't have bet the money line if it was -200. And my philosophy, now this is all again coming from somebody who doesn't parlay a lot, but my thought is if I wouldn't play the line as a money line, then that means I shouldn't parlay it.
I agree.
Like, that's just how I do things. Like people will say, "Oh, well, I wouldn't money line that, but I'd parlay it." Well, you're basically saying you don't think there's value on the line when you say that. So
well, sometimes it's just because you don't want to drain your.
You don't want to have as much.
I still think there's value at -1100 on Luke Trainer, but I'll be honest, I don't want to put $1,100 on him because my sportsbook's can be pretty dry.
No, yeah, that's a different story. If we're talking like,
but there's value there, man. Like he's winning this fight, like 99.9%.
He's genuinely fighting. Like they're like punishing it. This is like from the MMA gods. Like,
yeah,
he's gonna friggin'. This dude's just gonna quit. Honestly, he's gonna quit. I'm calling it. Like that dude is going to quit the second he gets hit or gets taken down and it gets his back taken. It's over. He's gonna quit.
So here's the question then. So we have a 4-legger right now. We have Archie Kogan, Mike Shipman, Dimitri Hertsinko, and then we have under 1.5 in the train. Oh, never mind. Just kidding. I was getting a little out of hand here. I was going to say we could add Trainer to this, but I don't think it'll let me parlay Trainer and the under 1.5 in his fight because you can't do same game parlays for Bet Online. Because JD's right, DK doesn't have anything up, and that is because it's Bellator, and they'll put it up like the day of the fight. So actually, they'll probably put it up on Friday. They just have their the money lines up. They don't have the over unders, but Bet Online does because Bet Online knows what's up. But yeah, I was gonna say if it let us, that would put us over plus 1,000. But at a 4-legger right now, we're at plus 977, which I absolutely love.
So that's Hertsinko, the under in that Trainer fight. Shipman, and then what's the fourth?
Kogan.
Oh yeah. Okay.
What do you think?
I think we just stop it there, man. I think
we're at plus 977. I think so too. What leg would you be most nervous about?
Yeah, and then which one would I be the most nervous about?
Yeah.
I mean, typically, like under 1.5 sketch me out, but I really do feel like bro, like first of all, if there's a finish, it's going to be in the under 1.5. So, and I just think this is a mismatch, dude. Like it's, like he should steamroll this dude. So I just cashed out of my Syrian Clark. I mean, it's everywhere. Like if you search their names on Twitter, you go to their Instagram, even on the new opponent's Instagram, he just posted something saying like, I just stepped into the fight. I'm taking on Syrian Clark. So, I've been seeing it everywhere. So I think it just happened to that.
Yeah, last week somebody said 9 underdogs in a row hit on the BKFC card, which is
holy shit. That's crazy.
I guess while we're here really quick, have you looked at the LFA card at all?
Nah, man. Not that. Typically, that's a promotion I do get into pretty often, but I didn't this week because I was doing Bellator and UFC and Dana White Contender Series. I was just busy as hell. But
I just looked at the main event. It was Mark Climaco and Victor Diaz, and Climaco's a big favorite for a reason, but
what's the line?
I mean, Climaco's like minus 245, which rightfully so. He should be. Diaz doesn't have much if he can't get his wrestling going, and Climaco's a legit wrestler. So,
I actually don't. That line's not that crazy.
I mean, Climaco should win, but I didn't have anybody I wanted to parlay him with on there.
So. Yeah, I'll have to go through and really get into that card a little bit more, especially there's a lot of names on there that I don't know. But
I think Daniel James Allen was supposed to fight on there, but I don't see him. So I don't know if that fight got dropped. I don't see odds on his fight. So maybe that fight got dropped.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
But if so, yeah, that guy was going to win. That guy's so good. I don't know why Dana didn't sign him when he was on the Contender Series. The guy looked fantastic. But
there's at the same time, signing some of these dudes, I'm like, come on, bro.
Yeah, Jose Medina.
That might actually be the worst signing ever.
It is the worst signing ever.
That dude literally, it's like, I like you, kid. You got beat up for 15 straight minutes, and then what happened? He came to the UFC, and the exact same thing happened.
Yeah, but he doesn't sign Daniel James Allen after beating Jacoby Jones, the LFA champion at the time, I believe. And he beats him pretty convincingly for unanimous decision as an underdog, which Dana's always like, he was a 2-1 underdog or whatever. And he's like, all about it. But he doesn't sign Daniel James Allen because the dude was had only had like 4 fights prior. So like that's so stupid. So stupid. Oh, yep, the fight got canceled. That sucks. I just pulled up his thing. That's a shame. But either way. But yeah, BKFC is weird. Yeah, sometimes you can. Like one of my buddies actually cashed as a more than a plus 500 underdog on BKFC before. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
It was one of their fight cards in Florida. My buddy Brandon Meyer cashed as a big time underdog. Then went on to lose his next fight as a favorite, so that sucked. But still, you know, can't win them all. But I mean, the dude's in his 40s. You can't, you know, this guy's still winning fights in his 40s. You can't fault him too bad. So,
hey, respect. BKFC savage.
That's right. But all right, so we got our parlay. I'm going to run over that one more time, and I'm going to type it out in the chat. So we have Archie Kogan. We have what do we have?
Shipman.
Trainer under.
Yep, under 1.5 on the trainer. Shipman, and then hit Cinco.
And then Shipman. Yep. Wish I could type.
Yeah, I honestly think that cashes, bro. Like, you know, I'm not a big parlay guy, but I'm pretty confident in that one. That's solid.
I really think it cashes too.
I'm gonna throw a couple buckaroos on that.
Oh, JD had money on him as a favorite. That's a shame. On my boy Brandon. Did you have money on him when he was a plus 500 underdog though? Because if you did, you're more than covered. He did do a great interview. He's always a good interview. Very personable guy. Not many people watch my interviews, which is a shame because, guys, I just interviewed Michael Aswell from the Contender Series the other day, and it's like 180 views.
I mean, the same just happened to me. My lowest video I've done in months was when I interviewed Gerald Mearshart.
Which is crazy. Yeah, like when I interviewed Eric Anders, like, shit, I don't know, a few months ago. Actually, it was quite a while ago now. Probably the end of last year, actually. But, like, it got, like, maybe 200 views. Most of my videos, I mean, I posted my my full card breakdown, like, I don't know, a day ago, and it's over 1,000 views. So it's like, what in the world?
Dude, I posted Contender Series, and in 24 hours, it had 900 views.
Yeah.
And the day before that, I posted a 45-minute, like, dope interview with Gerald Mearshart, and people were like, next, don't care.
See, and that's the thing. Like, you only want to watch the ranked fighters, but, like, sometimes they don't have as good stories or they don't have as good interviews because they don't want to give you the time to, like, actually – they say the same generic BS. Like, you don't get anything good. Yeah. That's why. Like,
I never asked.
Does anybody really want to listen to, like, Israel Adesanya just come out there and say botched a few times or whatever? Like, nobody wants to hear that. Like, we don't those, like, interviews just suck. Like, the fighters that have good interviews are the personable guys that'll give you the time of day. Those are the good interviews. Me and Michael had, like, a pretty good interview. You have to wait till he gets out of his car. He's picking up food for his girlfriend at the beginning of the interview.
That was funny, though. Honestly, it was kind of funny, though.
It was funny because, like, I messaged him. I'm like, yo, dude, you still jumping on? He's like, yeah, I'm picking up food for my girl. I'll tell you what, I'll just jump on in the car. And I'm like, all right. Like, that's cool. But yeah, like, I get it. You want to hear the ranked fighters. That's like, those are the popular guys. But, like, at the same time, if you want good interviews, oh, there you go. Look at that. He's going to go watch interviews. I appreciate you, Henry. You'll enjoy them. Like, they're fun. I mean, you get some good info. You get to hear some good stuff. You get some stories. Like some of the interviews on my channel are really good. Some are not as good, but some of them are really good. And I know that GM3 interview was fantastic. In fact, I actually, like, posted that on Twitter or whatever. I was like, dude, this was good. Like, if it's a good interview, like, go watch it.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
You know, some of them are, and, like, some of them aren't. Like, I've interviewed people where I'm like, the interview kind of sucked. But, like, one that I had a while ago was for a BKFC fight. My guy, Josh Krejci, he doesn't have the best BKFC record. It's okay. I think he's like, I don't know, like, what, 1-2 or 1-3 or something like that. But he's got one coming up. Dude's not bad. He's more of a jiu-jitsu guy, so BKFC is not really his thing. But his interview was fantastic. Like, it was great. So sometimes you just luck out with those. So about to go watch the GM3. Do it. Please go watch it. It's on Cody's channel. His link to his channel is in my description if you don't already have it.
Hey, appreciate it. Yeah, no, that interview was fun, man. Like, I told him before, I was like, hey, you know, we'll probably go for like 25, 30 minutes, you know, and I was like, you know, if that's cool. And he was like, dude, as much time as you want. And then we went for 45 and I was like, my bad, dude. He was like, nah, you're like, he was really freaking chill. Even when we ended it, like, we sat there and chatted for another 10 minutes.
Nice.
And he's just a really freaking cool dude, man.
He is.
Yeah, like really humble. And I wasn't trying to like at one point I'm like, yeah, that just shows your like I was trying to like stick to the interview, but I had to like jump in with some personal thoughts because like he just dropped a couple of little dimes that I was like, this dude is just a good guy, man. Like he's just a cool ass dude.
How'd you even get that interview? Did you just message him out of the blue?
Bro, I literally, it's the only fighter I've hit up really ever, like ever. Like in the sense of I've done interviews, but only when they just, because I actually used to like play COD with Chris Weidman and Wonder Boy like every day. Like we used to hop on the stream like 5 days a week. And
that's hilarious.
So through them, I got to play and like not interview, but like loosely talk on the mic and shit, and like ask some questions with Stipe, with Max Holloway, and like I've done some. Randy Brown used to come on the show all the time, but like actually hit up to be like, "Yo, are you down to do an interview?" First ever, and the funny thing was he followed me because when he got that win, I posted that meme. I don't know if you saw it, but I posted like a meme that it was like the Chad face on Gerald, and it was like, oh, he's hurt. This might be it. And then it was the
I do remember that
his face with the Chad, and Ben Askren retweeted it and tagged him in it. And he replied and was like LMAO, and he actually not only followed me, but I never even use Instagram, and I don't have anything like on my Twitter that posted or anything. So that tells me this man literally opened his Instagram app and searched my name and followed me just because he liked the meme. So because I literally haven't posted on Instagram in like 6 months, but this man like went out of his way to search me on Instagram and followed me. So when he did that, I was like, fuck it, man. I never do this, but I DM'd him and was like, hey, dude, appreciate the follow. I never really do interviews, but I'd be interested in interviewing you if you'd ever free. And he was like, let's do it next week. I was like, shit, okay. That's easy, man. Sometimes you just got to shoot your shot.
And he's just like coming off a big win too. I don't use Instagram hardly at all either, which is a problem because I also refuse to pay for the Twitter that like costs like the $8 just because like I'm just a cheap ass, I guess. And it won't let you message most people because like, no, you got to have like premium Twitter to like message people. And I was like, okay, whatever, unless they follow you. So thankfully, like, sometimes but yeah, a lot of times it's just like, well, can't message them, so I can't even ask, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I've had a few interviews with people like for Anders, I've gone out, I made videos like way back in the day. I did my top 5 favorite fighters, and he's one of them because like Eric Anders is fantastic. Such a cool dude. But anyway,
yeah, I've always liked him too.
Yeah, but so it was in Lincoln, Nebraska, which anybody that doesn't know, I am from Nebraska, when he fought a guy named Tim Williams. And when he fought Tim Williams, if you want to look up the nastiest, most brutal, like barely legal soccer kick to the head ever, there it is. Eric Anders kicks Tim Williams' head off. Like just
I don't think I've seen that.
Dude, it's nasty.
Look it up.
Dude, it's so good. Look up Eric Anders versus Tim Williams.
I probably have seen the highlight, all the Eric Anders fights I've broken down, but I can't picture it off the top of my head.
Dude, it's literally was the moment I became a big fan. I was like, I freaking love it. This guy's awesome. So, which is funny because I was actually sitting. I've told this story plenty of times. Some people are probably tired of hearing it, but I was actually sitting like a row behind Tim Williams' mom in the crowd. So like she just sees her son basically get decapitated, and I'm like, what? And my buddy Mike is like, hey, dude, like. That's his mom. You might want to like.
Oh, that's the worst. Dude. That's happened to me before. At regional shows, dude, it happens. Like I was there. I was there, and my teammate. It was a tiny little small show called Mix It Up Sports, and I was there. I've actually had some grappling matches on it, but my teammate knocked this dude out with a head kick. Nice. Brutal, dude. It like after 5 seconds, I was like. Went from excitement to like, okay, now I'm actually genuinely like seeing it's different. When you watch on TV, you can celebrate longer. When a guy is like out cold 5 feet away from you, like fucking mouth open, eyes open, like
not moving, like you're done.
It's tough to celebrate. So for the first like 5 seconds, I'm like, let's fucking go. Slap him. Go to sleep. Like I probably said a couple things that were a little rude. Like I'm pretty sure I screamed like put his ass to sleep or something like that. And then like his whole team and family, like both his parents, and the kid was like 22, both his parents, like his brother or like, best friend or something. Like he had a whole little crew of like 7-8 people that were like clearly close family friends or family. And they all immediately looked back like, fuck you, you piece of shit. Like I felt terrible, but yeah, I mean,
Right.
You're going to react. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I try not to like get like that. I try not to say too much. Like I'll jump up and cheer and stuff, but like I learned my lesson because I've been at too many fights where like that's been the opposite, where it's my buddy or something getting knocked out. I'm like,
oh yeah, dude, that's the worst, man. I'm like fucking. I get emotional watching my friends freaking get beat up, dude. I watched my head coach get like starched one time, and it was pretty brutal to watch, honestly. Like that was tough to watch. That was like my best friend and head coach, so that was brutal. And he fought like a behemoth. But,
when you watch your friends fight, you've competed in jiu-jitsu, but you never like fought MMA, right?
Nah, yeah, no, a couple smokers in the gym, but no.
Okay,
nothing,
so
nothing.
like for me, it's harder to watch a friend fight than it is to actually fight because I get way more nervous. Like my heart's just like beating out of my chest when my buddies are about to fight, even if I know they're gonna dominate. I'm nervous.
Dude, I'm like, yeah, bro. Believe me, like when my teammates are fighting, if it's somebody that I've really like spent like the teammates who I've been with for years, when they fight, dude, like I'm like borderline panic attack. Like it doesn't matter. Even when it's been like a one-sided matchup, like my boy Lee, and if you don't check him out I'm trying to get him to use socials more, but he's not a big like Twitter guy or any of that. But I'm like, come on, for your fight career, you got to. Dude's like been my right-hand man through a lot of my training, like 5-6 years, and dude's a serious freaking beast. Like I genuinely think he could make it to the UFC. Just like a serious freak athlete. Annoyingly caught on to like I've been doing jiu-jitsu like twice the length, but like I can't fuck around when I roll him at all. Dude's a beast, and I got size on him, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, anyways, when he fought this one guy, and I knew he was gonna fuck this dude up, but I was seriously like a wreck, bro. Like when he fights, I'm just like, yeah, I get like emotional, dude. I get like borderline, like I'm about to like tear up when the fight's about to start, bro. So yeah, I already know how that feels, man.
It's hard. It is, and like sometimes it's like worse than others. But yeah, dude, I get it. And I don't get that way when I watch them do jiu-jitsu because like they're not going to get knocked out. Like it's like okay, like I'm like the worst thing happens is maybe he breaks an arm or whatever. But like there's something about because like I've seen too many times where somebody gets knocked out and they're not the same ever again. So
yeah,
but like even if you get choked out in jiu-jitsu, you're usually fine when you wake up. So
I've been put to sleep 5 times in my life.
Oh, really? I've never gone to sleep.
Yeah, it's a sad stat, and honestly, it does kind of make me cringe a little bit when I think about it. Only once in competition, but 4 times in the gym. It's been years, but the last time was in competition. It was the only time that happened in competition. The other, like the first gym I trained at for like 6-7 years, the vibe was just like people were going to sleep all the time, man. Like,
never tapped.
It was an ego-filled gym.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like that type of shit drips down, and like met a lot of amazing people there. But in general, the atmosphere there is a lot different than the gym I train at now. It was like very much like if you lose, you're a bitch. Like so, like when we boxed, there was no rounds. It was straight up. They tried to make it like Floyd. It was like you're gonna keep sparring until someone quits. So and it was the same with jiu-jitsu. We didn't do any timed rounds. It was just till somebody got submitted. So there'd be times where we had 45-minute rolls in there and shit. But which all that's good. It's when you're not taking head trauma, roll for 5 hours if you want. But
yeah, boxing for 5 hours is a bad idea.
No, it was never 4 hours of boxing, but I did have sparring matches that turned into basically fights and smokers. And it wasn't even that we did that to each other. It was we'd start sparring, and then the coaches would be like, "Oh, you're just gonna be a bitch." Like that was how it was, bro. So
it's not a good coach right there.
No, I mean, I do, think I learned a ton there, and
for sure
attribute a ton of like the knowledge I gained, and there was a ton of good that came out of it, but it's also a big part of why I kind of got away from wanting to get punched in the head, because I definitely had a couple concussions in that gym, even in fights that I won, that just like had a migraine for like 24 hours straight, just laying in the dark.
That's not good.
Yeah, I don't even really like to think about all that type of shit. It is what it is, but
yeah, that's why I do jiu-jitsu more now than anything else. Like, it's not worth taking. Like, I'm 32. Like, I'll be 33 in a couple of months. I don't need to get hit in the head a lot. Like, I'm not going to the UFC. Like,
yeah, I'm 30. So yeah, no. I mean, when I got into jiu-jitsu, I was like, I'm going to the UFC. I'm a beast, bro. I'm going to, and then like, you know, once I left that gym, and like that gym was a big. It's a long story, but you know. Yeah, my priorities have changed. I'm like, I would love to open a jiu-jitsu gym. I co-owned a gym in the past with those same people. And when I left there, obviously it was a big decision. I'd been there for like 7 years, but because of a lot of things we just talked about, it was like difference in philosophy. And also I was bringing in so many people that would then leave because they're like, hey bro, that place looks good. I'm not trying to go there anymore, where like, the egos are just through the fucking roof. But
yeah, that's what I train where I do now. It's real chill. My girlfriend trains at the same gym, and like, because like, since we can both like, the jiu-jitsu academy that we go to now is like super friendly. Everybody's like, nobody has an ego. It's great. Like, for if you like, my girlfriend and I can go to jiu-jitsu class together, which is good, because like some of the gyms I trained out in the past, they were just violent. Like, they were just like hole in the walls, down in the hood, and you're just like, okay, we're just going in here to fight every time. Okay.
Yeah, so I actually met my fiance at that gym I was just talking about, and she was a big reason that I left, because she was amongst everybody else in my family and close friends. She was one of the people who got in my head like, hey man, like, these might not be the best people, and also like they're dragging you down in other ways. Like, you know, another story for another day. Something I've got into some on here, but it gets a little dark. There's a lot of fucked up shit that was going on over there. But at the end of the day, man, like, live and learn. I did get a lot of good out of that. And I did learn that what I want to do in my future is, you know, coach. Dude, maybe like my dream changed in that, but I did through that place learn like what not to do as a coach. And, you know, still got some great training there, so would love to take that and do my own version of it, but in a much less toxic way.
There you go. Well, we've definitely gotten away from Bellator. So
wait, what Bellator?
Well, we should actually just do a stream sometime when there are no like fights for a week, and just like get a few other like, you know, MMA personalities like us together and just kind of talk random stuff like this. I think it'd be fun on this. Like,
we could do me, you, Johnny, and Blood.
Those guys are fun.
Because honestly,
I saw Johnny in Indiana. That's where he's from. Like,
I saw that
a week or 2 ago, 2 weeks ago.
There's a lot of dope dudes in this community, but honestly, like, every time I do any sort of show with you or either of them two, it's always we said this before. Oh, we'll just go like an hour, blah blah blah. Here we are, 1:33, talking about like prior gyms and shit. We haven't mentioned a fight in 30 minutes, but
no. Yeah, we did an hour for what we were talking about, and then we got off on a tangent. So, but yeah, we definitely got to get those guys on and just like kind of just talk stuff. We're like, especially like, I like both of those guys a lot, so I think that would be great. I have good chemistry with both of them guys, so like we'll definitely do that. Just on like a week where there's no fights or something. Let's do it. I know me and my girlfriend Kendra, we're gonna do a stream with Johnny and his wife towards like the end of the year, early part of next year, and do like our like futures picks, because Kendra and I did that last year, and we were talking about it when we went out to dinner with them guys, and we were like, yo, we should all four just do that for this year. So we're gonna do that. But like, yeah, that kind of stuff's fun. Just like stuff that's not necessarily breaking down a card. I like to break down cards, but I'm trying to reach the mass MMA audience, not just the betting people, the degenerates, because then the rest of my stuff gets popular too, not just if I'm talking about how you can make money. So, you know, I'd love to do that. And plus, that's how you get to like MMA guru levels of fans. And like, I think he's a weirdo incel, but I think that he also figured out the marketing, and that's fantastic. So, you know, That's great. Like, good for him. Like, I want over 200K subscribers and all of my videos getting like a crap load of views. So
He apparently was watching my stream the other day on his stream and was going
nice.
to raid me, but he didn't like something that the guy I had on said. I never figured out what it was, but I think just because something they said pissed him off, apparently. I had a couple people come in the chat and I thought they were trolling, but then like 3-4 people all said the same thing. So I was like, yeah, troll was going to raid you, but he, like, your friend said some dumb shit. I was like, what did he say? But nobody could tell me what it was. So I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
I thought that was kind of funny. But,
well, I always say that if MMA Guru ever wanted to come on my channel, I'd let him. But like, I'd also accept an invite onto his, so it's no big deal. So like, if he wants to, we could do something. But I do think he's an incel, and I want to help him out. I want to tell him that, you know, you can touch boobs and it's okay, and you don't have to be a weirdo incel. And I
it is always so awkward when he does talk about, like, when he tries to tell people, oh yeah, like I've been with women, and I'm like,
like, dude, no, never.
And again, I don't even care, like, who gives a shit, but like the way he always says anything about that, anytime he talks about girls, it's like,
it's so awkward.
Dude, you've never been around a girl in your life. He's like,
and I think that's
when
he talks about women's fights. Like, when he talks about a woman's fight, it's like it comes out, and I'm like, dude, it's okay. I'm glad he lives in the UK. We don't have to worry about any schools because of that, so that's good. They don't have guns over there, so that's cool. Good for him. I wish him the best. But yeah,
I actually think he can be kind of funny sometimes. Like, I don't.
He's hilarious sometimes.
Some people, I cater or like, I won't watch like, oh, John Jones is gay. Like, that's not for me. That's not for me. And I'm also not big on watching like his picks because, you know, what the hell, I do that all day, and like his picks is like, oh, I like this guy, blah blah blah. But you know, some of the content that's down the middle. It's not the picks and it's not the John Jones is gay. The middle stuff.
Yeah,
that stuff can actually be pretty good content. I agree. I see why he got a fan.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And like, he's fallen into this bit where he's got to be mad all the time, and like he has a angry face, and he's like got to yell at Dana White about something. I'm like, now the bit's gone. But like, there for a while there, it was pretty funny. So, but yeah, all right, we can jump off. We got JD still here laughing at least, but everybody else seems to have left the chat, so that's okay. we went off on a tangent. All right, folks, I'm gonna let Coty tell the last like two of you where you can find him. His links are in the description. But Coty, shout out anything you want to shout out, and then we'll get out of here.
Hey, no worries. We have been on a tangent. I did the same thing last night, and honestly, people are gonna be watching the recap, bro. People like your content, so it's all good, man. When you go live at random times, you're gonna get most of your viewership on the recap. But so I know all about that. But yeah, no, man. Appreciate you having me on as always. Always down to chop it up. Coty MMA on everything. Still haven't changed my my YouTube to fit it. It's still just Coty Dankh, but I need to switch that. But it'll be in the link, like you said. Yeah, dude, break down all the fights as always. Love pissing people off on Twitter as well. That's my side hustle. Not for money. Oh my God, I shouldn't have used the word side hustle. These idiots online, you can't even troll anymore because people will be like, oh, what is rent due? I'm like, brother, I work full time, 55 hours a week most time, or like 50 hours a week on average, sometimes 60. $12 from Twitter is not, brother, that month from Twitter is going to buy me a sandwich. Relax. And people will be like, hey, bro, like, give it to me then. I'm like, exactly. That the people who say, like, you're just trying to make money on Twitter, it's like, bro, like, I don't know about you, but I'm 30. My bills alone are like $3,500. $12 isn't doing anything. Yeah, but my dog is straight chilling. He's ready for me to shut up.
Yeah, he's already got the blanket on and everything. He's ready to call it a night.
Oh, he needs a blanket, bro. He's spoiled.
Oh,
he'll be pissed if there's not a blanket on him.
Such cute critters. Look at them. Good thing you don't live in Ohio, right?
Oh, God.
Right. On that, let's get out of here. All right, folks. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch y'all down the road.